And there's a few people I'm going to call to share their story about fashion. And after we've heard from those people, we will hear from the man himself. So welcome once again. Thank you for coming. Right. Cecilia. Cecilia runs a business called Baby Black. Oh, wow. Tell us about Baby Black, Cecilia. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, so my name is Cecilia, as Dawn just said. Thank you, Dawn, for inviting me on here to speak about my business. I studied fashion a long time ago, and I've always stayed in the fashion industry. I was working on made-to-measure women's wear. And then I started Baby Black when I had my first daughter some years ago, and I couldn't find any black clothes for her in the children's wear sector. And with my fashion background, I decided I feel like there's a gap to be filled here in the market, and I was gonna do it. I mean, she's 8 now, so it took me a few years to get it off the ground. I launched last year, 2020, February.
Wow.
And yeah, I had lots of plans to do lots of trade shows, and then everything was shut down the month after. But yeah, it led me down the road of why there's no black. Why is there no black? I thought, why is there no black? You could see every other color in the children's wear sector, but you couldn't see black. And so it led me down the road of the negative connotations we have with the color black. It's associated with bad luck. For, you know, if you see a black cat, it's bad luck, right? Funerals, you wear it to funerals. Maybe witches wear it and stuff like that. Like I was speaking to somebody about the dove and the pigeon being the exact same bird, right? But the pigeon has this connotation of being dirty, and the dove is, you know, freeing and all of that stuff. So it was just all about these negative connotations of black. And I decided, I mean, with a group of people being called black, I thought maybe that translates over into black culture, black people, these negative connotations. So I've taken both aspects, the black color and parts of black indigenous African culture, and I've mashed the two together. And so that's what Baby Black is really about. We've got the black color, which I think is powerful. It's royal. It's united. It's a united color. We can give it many new meanings, and that's what I'm trying to push. But the vibrancy of African culture, or African clothes, is very colorful, very bright, very energetic. And so the two together work really, really well. Dawn you said you were going to put some pictures up?
Yeah.
You managed to. I did bring a couple of stuff. Should I show?
Oh, yes. Show and tell. Yeah.
So with the African prints that are out now, they're quite, I would say, saturated. The market is quite saturated with African prints. So I really wanted to do my own. And so I worked with a friend who's a printer, and we have, this is with one leg I'm going to show you. And it's African inspired, but it's not, you know, when people see it on the rails, they can see it's a nod to African, but it's not, you know, it's modern. It's a modern take. So this is a little baby joggers that we have. You can't really see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Adebayo. Yeah. So we've got little joggers here, and then we have a little headband here.
Oh, wow.
That we, you know, it's a nice little set. And then we have our gift boxes here, which is in black. Cool black. Black is cool, you know. Black is cute on our babies, and I just really want to try and push that we can you know, we can see our babies in black. And so I first got in touch with Dawn when John Lewis was looking for businesses. I think that's when I first got in contact with you. And I was approved for John Lewis. I've been there twice now since. And yeah, it's just been going from strength to strength. They're happy to have me back as well. I'm trying fingers crossed, to get to the Oxford Street branch. I was in the Brent Cross branch. I know Oxford Street is quite difficult to get into. So I've been featured in John Lewis for a pop-up for a week at each time. I was at UK Black Business Show, which was really good, really, really, really good for, oh yeah, this is my Instagram page. I just did a photo shoot. Yeah, that's the headband on. It was such a cool shoot. It was my first photo shoot as well. It was really stressful, but I just loved the outcome. So I was at UK Black Business Show, and it was really, really, really good for networking. I met loads of people from radio shows, lenders, people who want to invest in your business and stuff like that. And from the back of that, I've learned of some shops who are willing to give me some space. So I will be being featured in Camden. Girls, just keep your plates in there. Go. So that's just my two girls. Yeah. Okay, put it there. So yeah, we'll be featured in Camden, which is Black Wall Street. That's a new store that's just opened. They're fantastic, guys. If you can ever get the chance to go down to Camden, they're really, really, really nice store, full of Black designers and Black brands, homeware, jewelry, drinks, food, everything. So I'll be in there in December. I've just been launched in a new store in Elephant and Castle, which is for like designers. It's more of a designery store for small businesses. They just opened today. If everything went to plan, they should have just opened today. I'm also going to be in Inspired by Africa, which is another boutique for Black-owned designers in Box Park in Shoreditch. And there's one more. Oh yes, there's an artist studio in Watford that does they do crafty designery stuff as well. So I'm an artist. That's what it's a nice setting. It's a nice studio. It's like it's an old chapel basically, and it's a really, really nice space that she's got there as well. So since then, yeah, busy month in November. I've hit the ground running, coming off of UK Black Business Show, and hopefully strength to strength. So I have a website that everyone can go and check out my stuff. As you see, and I've got my Instagram, which is baby.black.clothing. If you type in BBYBLK like this, it will come up as well. And then my website is bbyblk.com.
Okay, good. If you could type those links into the chat, that'd be great. And everybody can pick those up. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Well done, Cecilia.
Thank you, Dawn. No worries. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, next person we're going to have is Charlie Buckle. Charlie, come and share about your business, your fashion business.
Yes, bear with me 1 second. Hello, everyone. Thank you ever so much for having me, Dawn, and thank you for making this opportunity possible. I am very eager to hear what Mr. Jones has to say. Lovely to meet you, Mr. Jones, too. And I must say, Cecilia, I absolutely love your print. I love the color is my language. So I love the abstract lines as well, the diagonal. I just love it. I mean, not going too much, but I love it. Absolutely lovely. So yes, I am Charlie Buckle of Charlie Buckle Limited. My brand is predominantly unisex focused. It began with just coats and waistcoats, and I now have a capsule collection, a black denim capsule collection consisting of 3 jackets and 3 harem pants with just slightly different detailing. And I have a linen capsule collection as well, all unisex. So it was inspired partly by my health. I have sickle cell anemia, and if you would know anything about sickle cell at all, one of the main things is imperative for us to stay warm. And I am known to look a lot like Michelin Man when I go out for any occasion whatsoever. Puffer coats and scarves just rubbed up, and all you can see are eyes at the top of this huge bundle that will approach you. And aside from that aside, I'm a creative at heart. Ever since I was young, I have a performing arts background. So performing on stage, be it for a production, acting wise, or if it's singing, I'm a professional singer. Makeup and clothing and, you know, the outfit, performing outfit is always something at the forefront. So style means a lot to me. So incorporating the two and looking less like Michelin Man, I always thought to myself, you know, it'll be great if I could create a coat that is stylish, that incorporates my love for color. I love vibrant colors, and also still keep me warm. And everything I do, it has a health and well-being focus to it. So with the business, it's very much based on a lifestyle, but very much based on eco and sustainability. So I use premium wool milled in, thank you very much, Dawn, that's my website, milled up in Leeds. And they keep you very, very warm, and they're also valuable, will last you many years. For me, I think I would love to give and provide something that, you know, you can hold on to for years and absolutely love, and it gives to you every single time. So health, well-being, eco, sustainability focused, and also predominantly unisex with only a few pieces for just, you know, women and men. I'm thinking, what else can I say? Color is my language. So I love vibrant colors. I love using and exploring vibrant colors. Now, when you're thinking about something unisex with men, that could be quite tricky. But I love that. I love the challenge. I love to be able to experiment and see the kind of things that men can go for. And not think, oh, that's too bright a color for me, I can't wear pink, that sort of thing. I started out, I think this was 2012, ending 2012. I thought to myself, I'll buy myself a sewing machine. A New Year's, which I did. And I'd already kind of mapped out the design for the cardi jack. And so bought a machine, made myself a couple of cardi jacks, and it was kind of like teaching myself to use the machine as well. Now I'm based in Angel, Islington, and there is this amazing arts trust by the Angel Station called Candid Arts. And they have an annual exhibition that I used to show. I'm a jeweler as well. So I used to always participate in the exhibitions with my jewelry or music or I'm a milliner as well. I design hats and fascinators and things like that. So I just thought, right, I'm gonna have these 5 cardi jacks. That's the name I gave them. This what I thought was one of their usual exhibitions, and it turned out to be a flea market. And as you will know, at a flea market, you know, prices are really low for everything. And here I was pricing this for like £70 or £75 or something like that. Well, thankfully, I think I took 5, I sold 3, had 2, and I was approached by a lady who basically had a contract with Westfield, and asked if I would join the pop-up shop. And so I did. I made a whole load of stock for it. And I was lucky enough for it to be successful. What was supposed to be a 2-month contract was extended for 2 more months. It sold really, really well. And I thought, right, it will be a great idea to upscale, therefore looking into fabric sourcing, and instead of making them myself at home, because that was a whole other issue. I was making everything myself at home and I was running myself to the ground, running the shop at the same time. So I looked into outsourcing, working with seamstresses, factories, tailors and such, and came up with the idea that out of the shops, it'll be great to work on a made to order basis, which has made it so much simpler for me. It means I don't have stock lying around. I just have the samples for shoots. And when I have another pop-up shop opportunity, it's just a case about making some some stock and then selling them. I've had a few other pop-up shop opportunities aside from Westfield, thankfully. There was one in West Brompton Crossing in Kensington, I believe, last year. I was also approved for John Lewis. The branch in Bluewater I was going for, unfortunately, didn't go through. So I'm looking to see what other branch will be a great option for me in terms of the demographic and to go with that. But at the moment, it's been mainly selling from the website and just making as the orders come through. And yeah, just building my way slowly from there.
Okay, thank you so much, Charlie. That's really great. And thank you.
You're most welcome.
And thank you for those great clothes that you're creating, both yourself and Baby Black earlier on. Okay, we have one more warm-up speaker. Cecile Jeffries in the house. Cecile, could you tell us about your business, please?
I think that's the first indication of how old I am.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm getting used to the digital world. It's still, I'm still in a learning process about this. I started my business in 1982, so it's been a long while. It's a specialist knitwear business. That's all I do. I make for men and women. I use natural yarn. Started at Camden Lock on a stall, got an agent from there, started selling to shops, started showing wholesaling at London Fashion Week, and we did New York, did one show in Paris. That continued for quite a while. And then the crash came, the big crash. When was that? 2008. So that resulted in lots of cancelled orders. By that time, I had 3 children. I'm afraid 2 of them had sickle cell, so we have to deal with that as well. Then we had a bit of a trauma in 2010, family trauma that had to be dealt with. And so the business has kind of just ticked along since then. My daughters have joined me in it and they've tried to modernize me. I used to have a very separate idea of what men and women wore, but as you can see, they've made me become unisex in lots of ways. So this is my knitwear range. I always use natural yarns, wool, cotton, viscose, lots of shaping, very simple. And that's been the main focus, is on the shape and the architectural aspects of knitwear and what you can do with it, and how you can make it mold to the body but not stick to the body. So I do lots of sideways knitting, and just use really, really good yarn because it lasts. They're hopefully, I believe, well made, and people keep them for many years and usually treasure them because they are quite different, as I hope you appreciate. I don't really, I mean, please ask me any more questions if you need to about all of this. But I don't really, I think hopefully my work speaks for itself.
Okay, so some amazing products there from Cecile Jeffries. Cecile and Charlie, if you could put your websites and your Instagram in the chat, please, that'd be great. People can have a look, check out your website and check out your products. But well done to the 3 of you. Okay, so we're now on to the main purpose for gathering together tonight. I want to introduce you to Mr. Adebayo Jones. I'm going to play you some of his videos from the fashion show that he did. He did one of in September, very recently, and his fashion show seemed to go down a storm. I think next time you do a fashion show, we all need to be there. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let me just play a little bit of your fashion shows first, and then we'll put you on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Over to you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Dawn, for the kind invitation. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to also listen to so many amazing stories, success stories in the world of fashion and the creativity that surrounds it. My name is Adebayo Jones. I'm a fashion designer and lifestyle entrepreneur. And I'm just going to tell you briefly about the whole beginning of how I got into the fashion business. And this is something that's been going on from childhood. As far back as I can remember, I've always loved fashion, and it's been my lifelong passion. My mother, my late mother, Christiana, was a trained dressmaker. She could cut patterns and stitch beautifully to perfection any intricate pattern or design that she was given. I remember watching her work, cut patterns, and make outfits as a child, and I would just be fascinated by it all. Um, Watching all the pieces of the puzzle come together from the patterns seemed like watching a magician at work and they came out so nicely without any complications or hiccups. And then, so I was always awed by what she was doing, just watching my mom design and make clothes. Now, when I was also a young boy, about 12 years old, I walked past a raw fashion shops during one of the school holidays, and the shop displayed many products on the windows. Particularly noticeable was a row of colorful T-shirts. I was captivated by a particular one in oatmeal color and some bold prints on it right in the front. So I rushed back home to ask my mom for some money to buy the T-shirt. Of course, she refused. You don't need any more clothes. It's okay. Go, get something else to do with yourself. And but I kept on nagging and begging and pleading until she gave in and give me the money to get the T-shirt. And I remember running back home with the T-shirt excitedly. She was intrigued to find out what was so special about it. I proudly displayed the T-shirt with the colorful bold prints right in the front of it. And it read, "I'm really famous." And I was about 12 by then. What did I know about fame and the world of fashion? So I could not have imagined that this was almost the prophetic proclamation of this T-shirt story, which I wore with pride. On reflection now, one gets the awareness that the incident was a glimpse of the future, that my life would go down, further down the road. There were endless fashion shows at home. And when I say fashion shows, as a little boy, every time my father came home from work and he had all the newspapers, I couldn't wait to chop them up and stick them with sellotapes and create like shirts. And myself and my younger siblings would have mock fashion shows, having fun at home, as it were. So my journey basically started as a young boy, maybe from about 12. And this is why this story is particularly unique and relevant to my journey as Adebayo Jones, because I believe that our stories are written by our past, and the past do shape our future. And anyone who has ever gotten anywhere definitely has a story. After school, my father felt that a university education was a prerequisite for a successful career. So I'm thankful for that experience, as university opened my eyes to possibilities beyond my dream. My first degree in university was in history and sociology, 1985. And however, fashion had already taken my passion as an undergraduate. I had no choice but to hone the skill sets needed for the craft at the Fashion College and Central School of Fashion, where I learned design, pattern cutting, garment construction, and many things. In university, though, while studying for history and sociology, I was actively involved in designing, though I couldn't cut or sew then. I could design and get the tailors to do whatever I wanted. So I remember taking part in the all-national campus Queen Beauty pageant, where I presented my first complete collection in 1983. And that after that moment, my heart was fixed on this. I knew this is what I was put here basically to do. My purpose and true calling were clear, and I just knew I had found my space where I belonged in life. So I'll share with you, that's the little background about how I got started into the old fashioned thing, industry. And so I'll share with you a little bit about Adebayo Jones. Adebayo Jones is synonymous with exquisite fashion and has been long associated with glamour luxury style. The eponymous fashion label has continued to build an international following through the years. I've been a designer, style consultant for over 3 decades. Initially, at the beginning of this entrepreneurial journey, I was designing wedding dresses. However, further down the road, I started doing the evening wear and the separates that would be bold, abundant, colorful, and a rich mixture of sumptuous and luxurious fabrics. So during the past 3 decades, I've been lucky and fortunate to have dressed celebrities, socialites, some really beautiful women, Miss World, beauty queens, singers, European and African royalty, stage and TV stars, and first ladies. I've always believed that details would set one's work apart. And this concept has resulted in detailed and outstandingly acclaimed collections. I feel blessed to be able to do this. I also believe in promoting African fashion, which has been key to me. So I use African textiles, the homegrown textiles, the handwoven, as well as the prints, which I started with a diffusion range now, which is the Africana by Adebayo Jones. I'm not sure if many are familiar with Nigerian or African textiles. We have a lot of Ghana, we have the Kente. In Nigeria, we have the Ashoke and stuff. And these are rich indigenous cloth which are used for special occasions. And I've used this for evening wear, corsets, outerwears, gorgeous evening gowns, trying to showcase the importance and the varieties that we can achieve with these fabrics. So now, that's the background about Adebayo Jones. I'm also going to share with you some of the high points of my career. My journey in fashion was facilitated through the support at home from my mom. And one of the defining moments in my life was showing my collection at Lagos, Nigeria, and watching my mother sit front row. I was taking a bow on stage when I looked and saw her. The smile on her face said it all: satisfaction and accomplishment as a parent. And I guess I was even more grateful that she had been my voice of hope. If I had not received the support I got from the early start, maybe a lot of this would not have been possible. So my father was in the audience as well. It was fulfilling to have both of them there. In fact, that was the main opportunity they had in Nigeria to see my collection. And because they both passed away shortly after that. The accolades are many. I have been a recipient of many numerous and prestigious awards, which I think I'm incredibly fortunate to have received so many of the special recognitions, including Best Nigerian Designer in the Diaspora, Fashion Global Icon Award, AFIA Awards, Toronto, Canada, Name of the Year Award at the European Summit Business Festival in Cannes, France. And I was also one of the 100 Nigerians specially recognized and awarded honors during the Nigerian Centenary Awards, celebrating 100 outstanding Nigerians in the United Kingdom the past 100 years. And during the Nigerian 60th independence, which was last year, I was listed as one of the most influential Nigerians in the entertainment and fashion space who have played a significant role in the history of the nation outside. So I feel blessed to have traveled the world and showcased the collections from Adebayo Jones. It has been quite an honor to receive and attend many invitations globally, showing and sharing insight into the fashion industry and hosting my own TV series, reality TV series for designers in Canada as well. So some of the, you can't have the highs without the lows. So some of the lows as well. Oh my goodness. We just went to Toronto, and then in Toronto, Canada, we showed a collection which included the menswear for the Africana range, and intending to come back and go into full-on production. And then COVID struck. So we sat down, we couldn't do anything. I had the show planned for last year, March 19th at the Hilton, we had to cancel, and so was every show, every trade show, everything you could imagine. Nothing going on for like 17 months, basically, in terms of trade shows and stuff. So that took quite a knock on one's plans. But I believe that, like they say, when life gives you lemons, you make a lemonade and add a lot of sugar. And so that was very, very helpful because I was able to, through that, use the opportunity to work on my book and write this book that I've been, trying to write for like 6 years, and which I did. And we're going to launch next year by God's grace, which is called Creativity is Not Enough, How Risk Takers Take Over the Fashion Industry. And so I remember also showing my collection at the Fashion Cafe in 1996. And then the whole collection got stolen as we went round to the back to pack up and leave the venue. We got the van, we came back, they opened the doors and the rails were empty.
Wow.
That was quite a blow. I cried buckets, and stuff, but then, and I had a show the next day. So what did I do? I went up and dug up some old things and went and did that show and then recreated the collection again. There have been so many. I remember starting out as well. The first time I got my first concession in Chelsea, the Chelsea collections, and I put in the first production of suits. They were evening wear suits with Duchess satin. When I went to pick them up, I was expecting that they would be made to the standards that I would make things privately. But whoever the finisher was, took all those Duchess satin jackets and steamed them, marking everything with shine lines. In fact, every single thing was ruined. So, and that was a whole lot of money down the drain. And the other thing I remember, which was a significant low, was not being aware and over budgeting for the stock that we're going to. So we created just way too much stuff. And then when you do that, you're then looking for every way you can to shift this thing, which seems to not want to go. And even some of the major stores are still doing that, because I remember reading a report recently about Burberry's, wasn't it? That they, after the end of the season and the stuff they couldn't shift, I was shocked to discover that millions of pounds of garments have been burnt, because, they couldn't shift them. So you have all those things coming in, which are, I believe, you have the highs, you have the lows. From the lows, you learn a lot about strength, about resilience, about, grace and how to survive. And these things that you learn, you put in to help those who are also coming along newly into this industry. So what would I say to a young designer starting out? Not like anybody here is particularly a fresher in the industry, but I believe that there are things that we can still all learn from each other. I've heard all the beautiful stories, the journeys that have been shared, like Charlie Boko and Cassilia as well. And of course, our Knitwear guru, who has also shared her journey as well. And you learn from all the stories. And what are the things that I would say? Okay, I would like to start off with one. For fashion, I think it's imperative that one asks oneself, why fashion? And maybe for the younger ones, we live in a world that it's filled with so much pomp and pageantry, and then everybody wants to be a slayer, and people like things easier. And you and I know that this industry, as glamorous as it looks, it's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of investment, it takes a lot of time. And if you are not really determined that this is what you were called to do, it would really test your resolve. So I would say to find out from oneself, is this what I'm here to do? And if one is convinced about that, then go all out. Because I believe also that everything that we can imagine is real. If you can think of it, even though it doesn't physically exist, it's already real. You're only pulling it in from a subconscious into the physical. And then number two, be a risk taker. You cannot engage entrepreneurial activity without engaging risk. I used to consider myself being on the borderings, the middle spectrum of risk takers, because risk takers are on different, spectrums of life. You have those who are incredibly careful. You have those who are right in the middle, where I used to be before, and would want to take risks, but I'd like to be very, very careful about it. And then you have those who are, they dive into risk. That's why some people would go on a plane and dive off a plane for the thrill of doing so. Not everybody has the guts to do stuff like that. But without risk, one cannot have that extraordinary life that you dreamed about. So whatever the vision is, one has to be able to engage risk, though with careful planning as well and good strategy, but be bold enough to step out and to pursue one's passion. Number three, I think also that it's important for one to be focused and to believe in that vision. Because you see quite a lot of people who have never dared to step out of the things that they would desire from life. We call those the dream killers. They would kill your dreams if you share them with the wrong people. So you have to be careful who you share things with. If you feel like these people are not going to be those who would support you, and mean this by saying that you have to get the support of the yes and people when you share your vision, no matter how crazy or how daring it is. When you share your visions with them, to receive the support and the encouragement, and when they say, oh, that's brilliant, and how can we support you? And even if there are things that need to be nicked here and there, to still bring in those things, but not destroy your confidence and that vision in doing so. And then the other thing as well, that focus is, it's very, very important. Focus and resilience, and then not allowing people to put you in a box. You see, many people see you one way. It's quite possible. So when you come up with another part of you, particularly if you're creative, and you say, I also think I want to do this, it's like, what do you mean you want to do that? This is what you're good at. Stay in your lane. So everything that you say that you want to do, they shut it down. I remember sharing a vision of a particular product fashion with a friend who lives in the US, and this friend uses that same product. And every woman that comes to me uses the same product. And I keep recommending them to the big stores. And so I came to myself and I thought, hold on a minute, this is crazy. You're an entrepreneur and you are recommending this product to these stores, to everybody. Why don't you make your own? So I shared with this friend of mine, and I said, I had this idea because she said, oh, yeah, but there are too many of those products on the market. And so when did that ever stop anything? Every day you go on the supermarket shelf, you see another brand of smoothie. There's a space for them. There's Innocence, there are also different ones. There are new ones coming in. And if everybody thought like that, we wouldn't have the innovation and all the new products that we have coming up on, on the shelves every day. So that's really, really key to watch out for. And then I would also like to mention as well that it is vital to, apart from planning, when we plan, things happen that want to shake off, the balance of what we know. And there are things that we didn't plan for would come in, to stay determined. Because if this is your vision and this is what you've been called to do, the journey may not be easy at times, but to always remember the first thing that you saw that made one think, this is where I want to be. And when those upsets come that want to rock the boat, to stay determined and to say, and this too will pass. And then just find ways of cutting across and getting over the hurdles that we face with life. Uh, um, I work on two ranges at the moment. I'm quite adventurous. I'm very daring. Sometimes the dreams are big, they're way too crazy. But I believe if you can't dream big, you can't have, what would you lose by not trying? And so we have the couture, and then we have the Africana luxury line, which we just introduced as well. And we want to develop more of the menswear. And then I've been working on, of course, the book has been completed. It's gone for editing now. And so we hope to launch that first quarter of next year. And then for a couple of years, I've loved the idea of wines. I love wine. So I started attending all the trade shows, being exposed in France and stuff, meeting manufacturers, pitching myself that look, I'm a designer and I want to sell wine and stuff. And I was quite amazed how receptive they were to what I was saying. So we started 5 years ago, and then we came to the point where we have some of the products now, which are luxury wines from us, which will also be launched next year. It's my dream and my hope that the invitations will be extended to all our good friends on here that we just met today, because I believe that, you know, relationships should foster, carry on, and we should support one another in our dreams and goals. And for the launch with a grand fashion show and the unveiling of those products in the south of France next year, by God's good grace. So those are some of the things that we've been working on, but I think it is essential as well. And from my own experience, you know, to dream beyond what it is that you feel you can do. If you didn't have those dreams that were bigger than you, then you wouldn't need faith to move and to achieve great things. Most of those that have surprised us, particularly with the fashion industry, when I looked at the stories, because in the course of the book, I had to do a lot of research and do some case studies as well. And you look at the stories of Dior, of Yves Saint Laurent, and then you see even Marc Jacobs, the younger ones who are here with us presently, how they had overcome adversities by believing in themselves. Everyone tried to introduce something new and innovative into the world. And at that point, it was not accepted. The whole world would seem like it's against that particular idea. So to stick to one's idea of belief, that thing that one has a conviction about, I think it is vital to do so. The case of Yves Saint Laurent, 1966, when he introduced the smoking suit, and the tuxedo was a staple for men. It was a power status symbol. Men wore tuxedos. And this designer looked and said, what if, he asked that question, what if I could put a woman in the tuxedo and make it really glamorous and look beautiful and elegant and sexy and be like a power status for the woman, a transfer of power as it were. And he did so. And then with Helmut Lang, they shot the picture, the iconic picture, which became the symbol of the power status and the shift of that authority to women, as it were. And they did. And at first, it wasn't well received. The men were angry. The public didn't like it. What on earth are you doing? Who do you think you are? Women were thrown out of restaurants or events trying to walk in with a tuxedo. But look now, that product has been the staple of Yves Saint Laurent till this day. He's long gone, but we remember him for that. What about Dior? He gave us the bath suit, 1947 and stuff. And then, you know, he introduced this right as the war was ending, when fabric rationing was still there. And he dared to think, I want to change the face of fashion and do voluminous skirts and then nipped in waist and fitted structured jackets and stuff. And then, of course, you all remember the protests and the upset that it caused. Women were carrying placards protesting in America, protesting in Europe on Dior. The models were stoned with bread or whatever during the shoots. But look at today, it becomes the representative symbol of what Dior stood for, the new look. So what am I encouraging us with? No matter how crazy that idea is that you have, that you feel within yourself, and you think, what if? Asking that question, what if? That what if may be the answer the world is waiting for, and that we do not hold back. And then we go on regardless of what the world thinks, as long as we are convinced within ourselves about it, and we put that out. And they may not agree with one at the moment, but in future, they will look back gradually and realize that you were right, and they will come around to our way of thinking. Finally, as I round up, remember that just some years back, if you wanted to connect with someone, if you lived in England to America, you'd have to write a letter. It would be taken on a ship. Then it would take weeks to get there. And then over time, somebody asked that same question, that what if? What if there was a means of speaking to somebody in America at the instant? And then we had the telephones and the exchange. I remember how those things used to go. And then we had the telephones at home with the numbers, and then we had the telephones at the, all this we had because somebody was asking what if. And today, and then later on, somebody asked the same question, what if? We could speak to people as we were moving. Remember what the first mobile phones were like? They were like bricks, you know, and the means for that was just to be able to communicate with people. But now, the mobile phone is like a symbol of your status, how fashionable you are, how trendy you are, and look at the gadgets. Who would have thought we would be speaking? I'm using my phone for this something. Was that possible a couple of years ago? No, it all comes because somebody asked, what if? And that's why we have the innovations and all the achievements that we've been able to experience as humans. So I'll encourage us to keep asking, what if? Find your what if. Change the world, make a name for ourselves, make it remarkable and truly outstanding. And by expressing ourselves fearlessly, that we stay relentless in the pursuit of this passion, as long as we're convinced that this is what we've been put here to do. And also, apart from staying focused and determined in it, never let anyone box you and tell you what you can and what you can't do, because your abilities are within you. You are the one who discovered and saw a vision to get started. And in doing that, in doing all of these things, adding with natural creativity, being able to take risks as well, exploring our minds, searching for new horizons and experiencing new things so we can build ourselves, we can really change the world, leave a mark, affect not just our environment, but the world globally, and most importantly, surprise not just ourselves, but the world at large. Thank you very much for allowing me to share my journey. It's been a pleasure, and thank you once more.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Very inspiring. I have a number of questions for you, but I'm going to open the floor and get other people to make comments on what you said or ask questions. So who's going to be the first?
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Wonderful presentation, sir. Thank you so much. Very inspiring. I just wanted to have an idea of where one can purchase a ticket to come to the south of France and partake in the wine.
You know the beautiful thing, the south of France, because it's a private event, is going to be by invitation, and definitely our dear friends on here will absolutely be invited to come and join us and celebrate this achievement. And I say this for two reasons. One, it's the first time that a fashion designer, an independent, because I realized that a lot of the big brands like the Dior's and the Chanel's, they all have their wines and stuff and champagne, which they do. And they own the value chain that supplies this wine. So Dior would own the vineyards, and then, you know, from there being able to control the products. And then how it comes to the market, and everything is a lot easier. We've had to work with two of the finest chateaus independent. We pray one day that we may own one.
It will happen. It will happen. Well done.
And
Thank you.
thank you. And so the collaboration has just been awesome. And I am really thrilled, and it will be great to celebrate with our dear friends, you know, on this achievement.
Okay, I don't know if everyone understood what's happening. Adebayo Jones is going to be launching wine, luxury wines, and he's doing a launch of this early next year. It's going to be after March, April, sometime. He'll let us know the exact month, but he's actually going to be inviting people to come over to the south of France for the big launch. So is that something that you're interested in? You come over for a weekend. Your fashion show, there'll be food, you'll be shown around the winery. And I think you said you're going to take us around a cave where the first sparkling wine was done.
Yes, yes, yes. It's because I was there the last time. It was 600 years ago. The monks they created the first sparkling wine there in that particular monastery, and that will be one of the list of places that we'll be visiting as well. You know, as part of the experience.
Okay, so we have the contact details of everyone who registered for this, and also if I could say to people, you should either be on the Black Economics mailing list, or you should be part of our WhatsApp group, so we can keep in touch with you whenever these announcements are being made, so that your invitation is not missed. So that's the great thing about diversifying. Once you start a new product, it's a new launch, new set of press rounds, a new set of celebrations. So thank you for the invitation, Mr. Jones.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Hi, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. It is inspiring. It's really inspiring because, you know, as creative people, you just have so many things that you want to do and try. I mean, I think that we're all creative, to be honest, but once you get into it and you practice it, more ideas come to you, you're more inspired, and I've got so much stuff I want to do in this head. I just think I'm not going to be able to fit into this lifetime. Just hearing that, you know, you're branching out from luxury fashion to luxury wine is just really inspiring. So thank you for sharing and, you know, yeah, just sharing that story. What I'd like to say is, because you're doing a luxury, you're doing a couture, and then you're doing a luxury line. So when you say luxury, is it ready to wear?
Yes.
It's ready to wear. So I wanted to know, because you were saying about like overproducing and having, you know, some of these designers burning their stuff and all that stuff. With me, I'm doing ready to wear. It's not luxury. I mean, some people, I don't know, some people think that's a bit expensive for kids. It's a bit expensive for kids because I get everything made here in London. And in terms of, as you know, when you produce small amounts, the price goes up, right? And so you are inclined sometimes to just do more than you actually need or
Exactly.
outlets for, just so that you can get the cost down. And I want to know, how do you navigate that with not having too much stock and inventory? Like, how, if you could just speak a little bit about your journey on that and what you've learned, that would be great.
And the key thing as well is I've noticed, particularly if you were dealing with maybe a company from the Far East, and they would say, and if you said, okay, I would like to produce this blue little knit top with a neck, and they would say, okay, yes, they would try to push the numbers and the volumes on you and say, okay, yes, we can do that for you. We can give you this price, but you need to make like 600, you know, of that one color. And then, you know, and then we will let you have the different sizes of the 600 pieces. And then if you want another color, that's another 600, and that's another 600. And so you're looking at it and thinking, oh my God, that's 1,800 pieces of these three products already. One, your cost will start to go up, including the storage where you're even going to put them, and that's a whole lot of money tied down. So I got to the point where I now do serious negotiations and say, okay, it's great, but because I'm just starting out, I was thinking, why don't I use the 600 number and have 3 different colors in that, and then break, so that gives me 200 of each, then break the 200 into, like, you know, 5 sizes as well. So that really then, instead of 1,800 products or so, you know, ended up with, you know, with having 600. Then I can test. Sometimes you find that a particular color sells more than the other. Sometimes you'll also find that, you know, if it hasn't been tested out at all, it can be quite risky to sink a lot of money, you know, into those products. And then one is now desperate, trying to shift them, and you go everywhere just trying to fling them up. I had one of, because I do the fashion master classes, as well for the fashion entrepreneurs as well. And sometimes it's for beginners and sometimes it's for those who are already in the business as well. And I remember having a client who was based in Nigeria. She had a lot of money. She went off to Istanbul. She lives in the capital area, which is predominantly Muslim part of Nigeria. And she went off to Istanbul and wanted this company to produce a collection for her. So there was this company producing the collection for her in Nigeria. They've never been to Nigeria. They don't know the culture. They don't know the geographical requirements, of the place to understand the market and what the market requires. So they created all those things, extremely bright colors, short skirts, 18 inches, 20 inches. They don't wear this sort of things to work at the federal capital because it's a Muslim, predominantly Muslim area. So lengths are longer, arms are covered, things are a bit more conservative, colors are a bit more conservative. So she ended up with so much stuff, over $50,000 that she couldn't shift. And so by the time we met, she said, look, if someone would just come and pay me $10,000 and take these things away, I don't want to see them. I want to start from the scratch. So many of us have had that experience of investing too much in volumes that become a bit of a challenge because we have not really tested to see which ones are the best sellers. I'm sure from your range, you have your best sellers, you know which ones they are. So those are the ones that should be increased in volumes while still maintaining a balance with the others. But you'll have more of that because you're going to sell out of it over and over and over again. So what I tend to do is negotiate real hard to have the least minimum that I can produce so that I can watch my money. And at the same time, I don't end up with too much stuff. And then it allows me to test things in terms of the designs and also see which ones has become like the favorite for the public. And then we shift the ideas in that direction, in that area. I love the concept of what you do. I think it's remarkable because one, you look for an opening in the market and then you moved into that. And what is business? It's basically finding those little holes that are there and looking to fill it. And a lot of successful enterprises as well have been so because they began to serve a need that they themselves were searching for and realized that this thing is not here and ask that question, why is it not here? And then somebody would say, okay, if it's not, what are you going to do about it? Which is why you're there. I love the concept that you made your own prints. I think it's so different, it's unique. And so it means that what you use is not readily available everywhere. And that becomes a significant USP for you and for your brand. And using that black as well, I think it's just an amazing concept. It's just awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, if I can.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say as well, because you're ready to wear, you do a fashion show for your ready to wear, or is it just your couture? So your fashion show. So in the past, because as I said, I've come from women's wear.
Yes.
And to be honest, I don't even know if there was a brand there. It was just like ideas, and I was just doing fashion shows and whatever. And I always felt as if there was so much effort and money and time that used to go into 3 minutes of a day, and there was nothing after. I didn't find any it didn't lead anywhere. And so what I would like to ask you is, how do you get those important people in the seats? How do you get press to cover you? Is it like longevity? Is it just over time? Or is there a strategy in getting the right eyes on your product?
That's great. the first thing about the shows, and particularly the press thing, some people are fortunate to have a lot of money, so they can engage PR companies to do so much for them. And then you find a greater percentage, of smaller, medium-sized businesses have to be very careful with the finances as well. So that means a lot of things. We can either engage specific services without having to pay a retainer monthly to a PR firm for an event and say, can you help me promote this, and then get a fee, pay a fee for that. Or we do it ourselves. When we started, there was no Instagram, there was no, I'm talking the 80s, like 88 and stuff in England. So everything had to be organic. You cultivated relationships, you met editors. I'm sure Dawn knows Sherry Dixon. Dawn?
Yeah.
You remember when she was at Pride magazine? I remember
Yes.
then she through because I'd met her from the 80s, and she was into fashion and beauty and makeup, and then she moved into fashion then. And then I was fortunate, she did a shoot during the wedding season, because I started off making wedding dresses, and she did 6 pages on me. Now, those are based on relationships that we cultivate, and then we keep on nurturing it, making sure that people realize. Irene Shelley as well. I did so much stuff with Black Hair and Beauty magazine, in all the fashion shoots as well that were done. So that was another area which one can do it through the relationships. But with the shows, they are incredibly expensive as well. So whichever show one is going to take part in, one has to really make some inquiries to see if they deliver what you are actually requiring from it. If it's just to entertain people and to have people there and a great crowd, oh, darling, that's wonderful, and everybody leaves, then there's no point. You could do that yourself. You could have a private evening where you invite everybody, rent a nice room in a beautiful hotel, have people come in, invite the buyers as well. That could be another way of doing it. And so there's just so many ways that we could do that. But we have to be sure that what we're using is going to deliver what we want. For me, because one has built many relationships over time, when it comes to those shows, I make sure that the key people are at attendance of that event. And so they show those 2 things. If you have your buyers there, you get sales. And then if you have your press there, you will get the movement that keeps putting your brand in the public view. And that is what draws back business to you. So I hope that may have answered some of the questions that we raised as well.
Yes, thank you. And if I may ask another one, did somebody else want to ask?
Yes.
Yeah, go on, Cecilia.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going for it. So the next one that I wanted to ask was about your business is an older business, as you said, started from the 80s, and how you've navigated and transformed into the internet age, and how you sell on the internet. If you sell on the internet, how much your percentage of your sales are on the internet, or do you have your own stores? Do you sell other? How are your sales basically? How do you sell?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, we were predominantly couture, and which is couture has an advantage and a disadvantage. For those who can afford it, it's heaven. They don't even need to come to you. They just call you, darling, I need a dress. I'm going to, you know what to do. It's color this, and they don't bother you, and they just turn up, and whatever you've made for them, they're fine with it. And then, but the downside of that is that it scares off a lot of people, because I've heard stories. I've been in places and people say, oh, I would come to you, but I heard you're ridiculously expensive. And I said, who told you that? Oh, everybody says you don't sell anything less than 1,000. I'm like, who told you that? And, so you hear all these different stories that people make up. Oh, people say that your things cost. And I'm like, oh my gosh, So we're also losing a lot of people who would otherwise come because of the perceptions of what we do. And we decided now to have the diffusion range. And then we went off to Canada, we launched it, coming over to England to launch, and then walking into COVID as well. So we've not been able to, and then we now had the opportunity after 17 months of launching it in England at London Fashion Week. And the response has just been, really encouraging. So now, from the samples that we showed, we're now moving into the production now to have the full production out. Because I have the system where I test and I do the shows with the sample range and then move on into the production. So, but we are going to have an online presence, and we're going to have also the ability to be stocked in different outlets and shops as well, because I think both matter in this day and age also.
Okay.
I must say I'm tempted at the moment for a physical space, but it was a business decision that for now, just have your office and do everything mainstream like everybody's doing it. We can watch our pennies.
I think with the COVID, we need to be cautious, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I didn't realize that the new range that you were doing was you were just launching it in the UK over these COVID months. I didn't realize that it was that new. So
yeah.
So we're gonna have to see how it goes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. I've got to put the kids to bed, so I'm gonna leave you guys now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cecilia.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from anyone else?
Hello, I have a question.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, Mr. Jones, and the presentation was really good. Thank you very much. Very inspiring. I want to ask a question about you. I see you're on Instagram. Are you on any other platforms?
Yes, well, we are on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
We have the Twitter, also all at Adebayo Jones. We're on LinkedIn as well as Adebayo Jones.
Okay.
Also, so on those at least social media platforms, yes.
Okay. And which one do you find more sort of beneficial? You get more followers or audience from, do you think?
This is a good question, actually. I'm amazed about how particularly Instagram has become such a powerful tool. I think in fact it's a lot stronger than even the Facebook presence as well, because most people I speak to now say, oh, I haven't been on my Facebook for a while, and I'm like, okay, I understand and I get that, but everybody is on Instagram. Everybody is on Instagram, and I'm seeing some really powerful marketing tools that are on there, because I also have connections with a brand in Canada who just launched a new brand, and then we talked about the marketing strategy, and it's really worked, because even every time I open my Instagram, and I have 3 accounts. I have a personal one, and I have the one for Adebayo Jones, and another for the Africana luxury. Their ads are popping up by the second, and it's quite powerful. And for myself as well, the number of times I've bought things because the advert popped up on my Instagram, I've lost count. So it seems to be much more effective than every other means for now.
Okay, thank you. I have another question. You do, how many pieces do you do per collection? Like, you've got the luxury, you've got the couture, you've got the menswear. How many pieces would you say?
Okay, so for when we did the last show in Canada, we had 75 pieces in total. That was a mixture of the
Sorry, Mr. Jones. Sorry, Mr. Jones. I think somebody's making a lot of noise. I can't really hear. I keep hearing something in the background. Okay, it's all right. I think it's all right now. That's
Yes.
better. Yeah.
So when we did the last show in Canada, we had two shows. We had the couture, and then we also had the ready-to-wear collections, which is the ladies as well as the men's, which is the Africana luxury prints. So for the couture, we had about 35 pieces, and then for the ready-to-wear, we had 40 in total, split
Okay.
halfway between the men and the women as well. So that was a
Okay.
big collection. I
Yeah,
realized.
sounds like it. Sounds like it. And you know, you mentioned you do the London Fashion Week. You do that one? Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you
London
find?
Fashion Week.
Yeah. How many pieces did you do for that one? For the London?
Wow, that was a very small show. I was headlining that show, and I think we had about 14 pieces in
Okay.
that particular show. Yes,
Okay.
that was a
Okay.
small one. But if it's the Africa Fashion Week Toronto, then I would have like bigger pieces because I have quite a bigger pool of models to work with, both male and female.
Okay.
And it's always a bigger show.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned some names like Irene, Shelley. I remember those names. Yeah, because I was in Black Hair and Beauty a long time ago. I used to do like a fashion show, you know, as a designer, and I remember it was it was a long time ago, and I remember my name was there. But we did it with other designers in. It was down Grosvenor House Hotel. This is a long time ago. This is in the 80s. Yeah. So it was funny to hear that name. I thought, oh yeah,
that name. Yes.
yeah.
That's when they had the stylist who worked with the magazine for years. I think her name was June Douglas. She used to be the stylist then, but Irene is still there.
Is she? Wow, that's
yes.
good. That's good. Very good. Oh, thank you. Very, very good and very inspiring presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So IMJ95, are you still in fashion now?
Yeah, I still do fashion now. Yes, yeah. Not
What's
as much
the
as
name
when
of your business?
It's at, if you go to Instagram, it's at EMJ Fashions. With
AMJ.
So E.
Oh,
E is, yeah, EMJ. Oh, you want to? I'll put it on here. So I put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. That'd be great. Okay, fantastic. So definitely look that up. Well done.
Thank you.
Are you doing women's wear, children? Anybody?
I do. It's mainly like, you know, bespoke. Like the client comes to me and they'll want a wedding dress or something like that, you know, special occasion. I do things like that because I do other things now as well. So that's part of it.
That sounds awesome.
So have a look.
I see House of Roots. I see House of Roots here, Atelier. I don't know if she's Lakwe Banjo. She runs House of Roots. Yes.
Hi all. Yes,
Hi,
I am here.
You?
I am good, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Sorry, I've got my son with me trying to put him to bed, so there might be some interruptions. Yes, amazing presentation. Uncle Jones is my mentor and has been for the past probably close to 20 years now. I've worked with him and moved on to start a label. Incredibly inspiring story. Every time I hear his story, even though I've heard bits of it before, there's always something new that he's put in, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know about that. But yeah, I didn't catch the beginning of the show, but incredibly inspiring stories from Uncle Jay, and even the questions that were being asked just now, really insightful. So I appreciate that. And I'll be joining your mailing list so I can get my free ticket to France too.
Did we say it was free, Adebayo? We didn't say it was free, did we? This is why we're giving you long notice now. Time to save up. Oh dear. Oh, good one. All right.
Great question. Well, less of a question, more of a like a request. I'm still trying to process everything that you said. Amazing interview, and I was actually very encouraged and very inspired. There's a lot of what you said that makes sense in terms of taking risks and how there is no highs with the lows, 100,000%. Because I personally at sometimes have hit that point. I am that kind of person that loves to take risks, but at the same time, I've faced periods where I'm like, can I continue? I don't know. Maybe I should just stop it all, give it all up, let it go. And then something comes up and you're like, no, actually, keep going, keep going and keep grinding. I just want to ask, I am processing everything. Would it be possible, should I have a question or a query about something, kind of possibly send a message through your Instagram direct message or an email, perhaps?
Yes.
That will that be in the, I'm guessing your email will be on your Instagram page anyway.
Yes, it's there. And
Okay.
if you need to also be in touch as well, even if you don't get hold of me, once you reach Dawn Grant,
Yes.
you are in a safe place.
Absolutely.
as
Thank you
well.
ever so much again.
My pleasure. And I must say that, I love your logo. It's just a
Thank you.
breath of freshness.
I
And
can't
it's so
take any
beautiful.
credit. It's all my dad naming me.
Oh,
You've used it beautifully, and your collection, they're very, very inspiring and really beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you
Great
very
work.
much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm going to...
Yes, sorry. I had myself on mute.
Okay.
And I've been driving, so I've been making, that was me. I apologize for making the noise in the first instant. Mr. Jones,
Yes.
it's such a pleasure to hear your beautiful warm voice, but also to hear, sorry, let me just put my the where am I? How do you, oh yeah. To hear your beautiful warm voice, and also your advice has been so amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm not young, probably about the same age as you. But even for somebody like myself, it's still amazing. And yeah, because I have two children who've kind of stepped out of the norm to set up something fairly unique, and it gives me palpitations. Wow. So and they started it in the COVID period. It's actually a Nigerian tapas restaurant, and awesome. Just hear it, and hear, that's right, and hearing about how how you kind of stuck to something because you believed in it. Yes. Make these arts, because they're doing that. I'm watching them doing that, and just hearing you saying that it works. It's kind of like a balm that I need right now. When I watch them and I see all the things that they're going through, which people don't see. They just see the end. Like you say, people just see the end, the outcome. They don't see all the journey, all the tribulations, all the sleepless nights, all the trauma behind it. So for me, it's quite encouraging to hear your story. And yeah. Now, I've always been interested in fashion. Most people don't really know that, Okay. And I was kind of interested when you said this thing about people have a concept of you, which often is not the you. But fashion has always been something I've been interested in. When I was at uni, I used to go to fashion events. I used to, I wanted to set up my kind of own knitwear, because I was really interested in knitwear in terms of fashion. Oh, wow. That time, yeah, because at that time, knitwear wasn't so attractive. It was literally just cardigans and things like that. So I really wanted to go, you talk about the 80s, I wanted to sort of like make the knitwear, not just something you wear when you want to keep warm, but like a statement piece. So that's what I wanted to do. And just events and family and then children and then getting stuck in work. I never got into that. I never kind of took it. It's always been in my head, but it never went beyond being in my head. And I think I didn't know how to start, or I didn't have the courage to start.
Yeah.
But I don't see why I can't start now. So I want to know about you said you do masterclasses.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so how do I just...
Thank you for sharing the beautiful story. In fact, I've heard of the tapas restaurant, but it's a honor to meet the great woman behind the...
Oh, wow.
I've heard about it because twice people have told me they went to this Nigeria. Oh, it was awesome. It was this, and I think it was also DJ Abbas who also did a feature on it.
Oh, DJ Abbas, yes. Oh, you did.
As well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And then secondly, you know, the thing about creativity is that once it's there, it's there. You can never get rid of it. It keeps, you know, creeping up. It comes
And going
up,
round in
it's asking you
circles.
that questions. It's this baby inside you, and it's waiting to be birthed and given expression and to find its own space in this universe and in this journey of life. And I know that it's never too late to start anything. And it's very easy for many of us creative people, particularly when we're multi-gifted, to be boxed and put in this container. And so when you want to do something else, the first thing people, what's he doing with that? I thought he was, you know, supposed to be doing this. Okay, another great passion of mine is singing. Writing songs, singing, it would just have made me as happy if I wasn't designing. But then designing is what I'm known for. So I'm walking in the background, trying to see what I can do. Now, when it comes, see, everybody said I ate in the restaurant, the food was lovely. You know, testifying to the restaurant. So when it comes now, tomorrow that one comes up with a single and you as your picture, the first thing that people like is, what on earth's wrong with this guy? Who does he think he is? Trying to sing now. I thought all he did was cut fabric and stuff. So one's been boxed. So is one going to stop and not do that which is screaming for expression inside of you? Definitely not. So we do the fashion master classes, like I did say, and it's for people starting out, those who are already in the journey and maybe have questions as well. We do the 1 hour sessions too. We're planning for next year, we're planning a 3 hour day session, and we're planning a weekend retreat for fashion designers and also those who are looking to get into the industry. We're planning all of this with Black Economics. So all the dates and everything will be out shortly. And the reason why we do this is, one, to help us to get into the process of innovation and trend creation, which is one of the topics we're going to be dealing with. How do we think and create something that is going to make us outstanding and for our relevance to be noticed from the onset? So I love the idea of this knitwear. I think it's quite a unique area. I think you should follow this passion with everything. You may just be surprised a year down the line when it becomes the next thing on everybody's lips and you think, wow, what if I'd never tried? You have nothing to lose. And I should say, you should begin the process of finding expression for this baby inside of you. Because just like we're celebrating the cuisine from your children's restaurant, we would love to be able to celebrate your creativity too, one way or the other. Never too late to start, that's what I'd say. And you must find expression.
But where I have the ideas is,
yes.
Sorry, but that's the problem I have, because I have idea. I don't know how what I want to
Okay, so this is why we're here.
do.
Ah,
The
your
fashion
volume.
quality. Wait for the masterclass.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We lost you briefly. So
Oh, I
the
see.
yes, the masterclass will cover everything that one needs to get started on that journey, and the importance of being able to create through the expression. It could be anything. It could be because we are basically a summation of everything that has formed us from the past. When we were babies, we opened our eyes, we saw our parents, and we began to notice the world around us. Everything we saw, the fabrics, the textile, the food, the culture, the colors, the environment, created everything that has become us today. And you would be amazed when it then moves into a creative process, how all those things that are latent, they're there. They're just lying down there, would begin to rise to the surface once one taps into the know-how of how to pull it out and use it effectively to define a fashion brand. But it's there. Those hints are there. And if they're screaming, you got to let them out.
They are. I can't, I mean, like, we're talking about, I like to say I'm only 21, but yeah.
We
We're talking
all
about
are.
in the 80s. I mean, it's something that keeps going round and round in your head, and it's
Yes.
something's like, well, if it doesn't die, then it means it wants birth,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I can see you love accessories. I can see your scarf. I love scarves as well. I collect them. I have them in so many different colors. Anyone who sees you see a person, and then you can tell intuitively if they have that creative streak inside of them, and it's quite evident, and you must give it a go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, you must give it a go, I would say. So
you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here
Thank
and
you
taking
very much.
and giving us the time, you're sharing with us your time, and also sharing with us your wisdom and your insight, and it's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure, and I must thank you as well for your goodwill and encouraging words. It's so inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to proceed to ask some questions now. If there's anyone else who wants to ask anything, please type in the chat, because I'm aware we only have about 20 minutes left. So well done, Adebayo. I think you definitely gave some words of wisdom. One of the questions that Cecilia asked was around fashion shows, because I've had calls to go to a number of fashion shows within the last few years. And I've got to say, some of them do seem as if they're only for entertainment, and you don't really see what the fashion designer is getting out of them, because there's no catalogue that's given out. There's no store where you can go and buy the products immediately. Sometimes they don't even give you a website as to where you can find the products. And, everybody has a jolly time and then go home. But surely from a fashion designer's point of view, it's got to be about sell. That's what they want to do, surely.
Absolutely. So I noticed as well, because in the course of this journey, you can imagine how many shows that we've done. And then it brings one to evaluate whether it is a plausible action taking part in a particular show, because we are not entertainers. We want to do business. We put in all that effort, money, time, and investment to creating those spaces, because we believe that it would open one, opportunities, give us the exposure. We have great images, great videos, but at the same time, we want to do good business as well. So it's vital then to check out the records behind the organization hosting the event. Because many people are centered on creating a fantastic event, having everything look good on video, but then the purpose for those who are taking part in it is not realized because they don't get any business out of it. So because of that, I've had to tailor my decisions on which shows I take part in.
Yes.
And I always say to our very small team that we are not entertainers, we want to make business. And if it's not going to give us that scope to be able to do so, then there's no point bothering about it as well. And because we also know that even there are some exercises that we can engage in if we as individuals even sit down to organize even private viewings with the right audience, chasing those buyers, chasing the right press, you'd get a lot more for that little investment, that investment maybe in a nice room in a hotel, than paying thousands to take part in a show, in which case you have good pictures, great videos, but no business. So you are right about that. It's something that designers have to be really careful about in screening and evaluating whichever organization is inviting them. Do you know how many invitations I get in my inbox? Different fashion shows and fashion weeks all over the world, New York, this, Paris, this, that. Everybody wants £10,000 to take part in this, 5,000.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, and it's the same with invitations, yes. In high profile publications, yes, Charlie, you are right. So we have to be sure that where we're investing money has the opportunity and the ability to deliver our expectations, because the expectations are threefold. One, to give us exposure, two, with the press, with the world, give us good materials to promote ourselves. And number three, to give us business. And if they don't have the buyers there, then we have no business really giving them our money, basically.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. There's one fashion show where it seemed to be all about the organizer. The organizer was getting all the press, and even if you check their Instagram afterwards, it was all about pictures of the organizer and their family. No pictures of the designers, no pictures of the clothing on the models. It's just like complete waste of time.
And people have paid money for that privilege.
People have paid money for it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you wanted to find out about the designers who took part, you have to hunt hard to find them, because they didn't even call out who the names were. It was just shocking, really. Okay, another thing I wanted to ask about the fabrics. You designed quite a number of the fabrics yourself, and those fabrics are amazing. So are you going to be selling the fabrics on their own? Because, I'm sure other people would love to make use of them.
You've just hit the nail on one of the major aspirations for 2022, where we have the prints that we also use for our collections available for other people to share and to explore as well. Okay, if you went into a store like Joel and Sons, you would see Saint Laurent fabrics, you'd see Armani fabrics, you'd see Versace fabrics, all of them there. And a lot of these fabrics is also used in their collections as well. So that is one of the goals for next year. I remember starting out and not having so much money in those years. And so when we go to a store like Joel and you see some beautiful laces, like, 300 pounds, 500 pounds a meter, and you're thinking, oh, wow. But you can only wow at it because you can't afford it then as a student. So I would buy whatever I could, then take it back home, lay it down and think, what can I do to make it special? And I'll be able to take ribbons and pin ribbons and add stones and do all sorts of things. Sometimes I'll take like 3 different laces, deconstruct and rearrange the fabric to what I want. So when you're looking at the fabric, it's like, wow, but then I've used about 3 different fabrics to create that one piece. So it came out of a necessity because I couldn't really afford the luxury I wanted, but it turned out to be a blessing. And that's where the whole relationship with textiles and fabrics have come into play. I remember when I did the ribbon collections, that was, I think, year 2000, and we were stitching 10-centimeter ribbons on beds of tulles. And some of them, it took us 5 weeks to make one dress because we had to, sometimes 2,000 meters of ribbons to make one complete outfit. They were just crazy, but I loved doing all those little crazy things. There was a time when House of Ruth was on internship with me, and I was asked to design a gown for one of the contestants for Miss World, and we made a blue feather gown, hand dyed it, and covered the whole gown in blue feathers and crystals. So it's been crazy, but it was born out of a need, and I'm glad that you know, we're going to explore more.
Okay, and I think the most shocking thing that I heard you say was when you had a show and your collection got stolen. My mouth was wide open. How did that happen? Was there nobody guarding
the show? And that was the launch show, the full launch show for the brand. Because we had just done the major launch at the German embassy in London, and then we got the opportunity to showcase the collection now at the Fashion Cafe in Piccadilly. And then we finished the show. We're excited. We're taking pictures. There were interviews. So we then went to put all the stuff on the rails at the back, went to bring the car around to get the collection. They opened the door and the rails were empty.
Wow.
The whole collection was gone.
So did you report it to the police?
Yeah, we reported that nobody saw anything. You know, it was just, it was insane.
And
I cried like a
wasn't
baby.
in operation then? CCTV wasn't in operation then in the streets around?
Unfortunately, CCTV never caught nothing. And everybody was just bewildered. The manager, this and that, we went to the police. Nothing came out of it. So I had to make that collection again.
Oh, wow.
I had to make it. I remember there was a gold and silver cloak that took 40 meters of tulle each. I've still got the original picture of one of them, and they were gone. The corsets inside and the long skirts were gone. The other outfits as well. I just couldn't believe it. And I had a show 2 days afterwards as well. So I went and pulled up some of the older stuff I had, did that show, came back, bought the materials, and started all over again.
So I presume that now you have security for your clothes.
Yes. We have.
Someone has to be guarding it at all times. And watching the models, that the models don't put the clothes in the bag as well.
No, we have an amazing team. We're so lucky. When we go to places like Toronto, the models have become like family. We work with models,
great.
most of them. In England, you're working with new girls. You establish a kind of relationship, but a watchful eye over everything. Because when we go for shows, when I travel, I take my clothes, I take the jewelry, I take the shoes, I take the bags, I take everything, gloves, belts, everything we're using. So when I turn up, I'm turning up with like minimum 30 pairs of shoes. I'm turning up with all the clothes. I'm turning up with all the jewelry. I want to do it as professional as I can. So when we lay the tables and we're styling, everything we need is with us. So we have a detailed show because we would like to be able to show that it's not the professionalism and the excellence is not meant for the huge brands alone. We too, as small, medium-sized companies, can do amazing things and be good at it.
Yes. And that's something we haven't mentioned much, your jewelry. Tell us about the jewelry that you're making.
So we're working with, they're handmade in England, and they're all made with Swarovski stones. Really beautiful, exceptional pieces. The mastery of it from those I'm working with, it's remarkable. And we have the flexibility as well when it's a couture order of being able to adapt to the client's choice and colors of stones, as if Swarovski has those stones, definitely. So we have from brooches to necklaces to rings to bracelets. And because I'm quite lavish, extravagant in a way, some of the pieces are bold and some are just, you know, nice and dainty enough for people who don't like too much fuss. And that's going to be available very soon also with Black Economics as well. People will be able to shop online for those spaces.
Mhm. Yeah, one thing that we wanted to mention, well, a few things actually, is that yes, Black Economics is launching its own e-commerce site called Asante Black. That's being launched next week, and we are having some items from Adebayo Jones on there, both jewelry as well as clothing. And anyone else who does fashion who's on this call today, you're also welcome to talk to us if you want your products to be sold. I mean, any marketplace, any platform that you can get to sell your products, you really should try and be everywhere. You need to be omnipresent,
Yes.
online in several places, as well as
Yes.
getting into stores as well.
Okay.
We will be marketing it to the full, so don't think it's going to go on there and just sit down. We are expecting to get orders in for you. Now, also, I've spoken to Adebayo about his manufacturing process. And tell us, Adebayo, where do you actually make your clothes, especially the ones that you're going to be making now with regards to ready to wear? Where are you going to be making them? Is it this country? Is it abroad? How many are you going to do at a time, and so on?
Okay, so we're going to be working in 3 different places, but we want to explore working in Nigeria now as well, because there's a lot of good ground, production facilities that can deliver very, very good quality products as well, if you find the right ones. And then they're going to be cost effective as well. You and I know how expensive it is to manufacture things here in England, which is why everybody keeps running away. But the constraints of that is that people are now tied to huge numbers for whatever it is they want to produce, and then that makes the financing very challenging for a lot of smaller, medium-sized companies. So if we find good service, excellent productions, but that allows us to tailor and have smaller numbers, it allows us to grow. And then I've seen quite a few facilities in Nigeria, which I know that we can engage for these services as well. They can help us produce things, and as well as another facility that I have in Abu Dhabi also, that, you know, they can produce really nice quality garments for everyone. So we also are looking at making that possible for members on here and our friends on here and outside as well. Designers, those who have small, medium-sized companies and who would like to explore the opportunity of being able to get the things done, get the sampling done first. You see if you like it, and if you do, then you can put in at least orders as well. I've just had a meeting as well with some officials from one of the states in Nigeria that is majorly known for manufacturing, and they had the meeting with me in England because they wanted me to represent the state and be the mouthpiece for the services that they have over there. And they are known as, you know, the prime when it comes to manufacturing in Nigeria, and they can do great work too.
Okay,
So
well, it
they're
would be
looking
good to
for
see.
that.
It would be good to see examples of their work if they have a website and so on. But in terms of the numbers of units, are we talking about they could do maybe 10 of an item or 20 of an item or maybe even 5 of an item?
Yes, so yes, we're looking at in terms of numbers, so smaller quantities, maybe from 10 upwards or so. So it's a bit more cost effective. As you know, if it's smaller, then it begins to have the feel of a couture, like a piece to piece,
Yeah,
by piece
yeah.
kind thing. Yes,
And
but
if
at
you,
least if you went on and said, okay, let's work on 50 pieces and see if we can break
yeah,
this to like 12
yeah.
pieces each or so, that could work as well.
Because if you're trying to manufacture, say in China, then you're usually having a minimum order quantity of 100, say, or some of them are saying
Exactly.
500. You
Exactly.
know, there are economies of scale. It will probably be a little bit more expensive than if you're doing 100, but then
Yes,
you can do your pricing accordingly to make up for that.
exactly. And the
So
exchange rate makes it more attractive for those who
yeah,
are here as well,
yeah.
because it's a lot better for you because the pound is strong. So you get a lot more, your money will get a lot more for you
Okay.
over there than if you were trying to do something here.
So you have a studio here where you can do the preliminary part, like the patterns, the sampling. And when you do your master classes, it's most likely that it'll be at your studio, providing we can fit everyone in. If it's a large number, then it would be at a hotel, we imagine. And also, if you want one-to-one coaching, he will do that too. If you want a half-hour coaching, an hour coaching, or you want an hour a week or 2 hours a week, you know, how serious are you about making your fashion design business professional and successful? You know, we want to be having your products in the mainstream stores, as well as perhaps your own stores later on, if that's what you want. But,
Yeah.
you know, the world is wide open for you, and set no limits on yourself. Just as Adebayo Jones has not set any limits on yourself, have you?
Absolutely not.
And when those books come out, we've definitely got to go for them. What's the title of the first book?
Creativity is not enough. How
Creativity.
risk takers take over the fashion industry. And for that, because we're doing our launch in London, we will all be there.
Okay, so we're doing the book launch in London, yeah. So that's going to be in the first quarter of next year, and then you're writing another book as well. What's that?
So you want to be a fashion designer?
All right, so you want to be a fashion designer. Fantastic. Well, I would love to have both of those books when they come out. So thank you for doing that. The pandemic gave us a breather, gave us time to, you know, stop from our busy lives. And I'm glad it gave you the time to actually write these books, because they will help a lot of people, I'm sure. Okay. Well, it is now 9 o'clock. It is now the end of the session. Thank you so much for joining us, Adebayo Jones.
My pleasure.
Thank you to everyone who came. Thank you for the questions that you asked. And let's stay in touch, everyone. Any comments that you want to write for Adebayo Jones in the chat, then please feel free to do that. I'll leave it on for the next 5 or 10 minutes or so. But thank you, Adebayo. You've been fantastic.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining and for having me. It's been my pleasure.
This work is by Kevin Tomlin, who is a music historian, artist, and art teacher.